Good afternoon, everybody. The next topic I'm going to do is, it's going to be on the understanding of what happens when we journey. And it's going to be concentrated on the first few times that you do it and what happens and what follows with that. When you open your third eye, it can be slow process, but once you get it, literally the floodgates can come in. And are you ready for the floodgates? Because the floodgates can be extremely difficult, and I mean it. From my own personal experience and plus working with a lot of other people, it can be pretty damn scary if you don't know how to understand it, how to view it. And this is, see, when you first start doing journeys, they're going to test you, and they're going to test your heart. And they're going to test you in many, many different ways. And it's going to test you as a person. It's going to test your soul, your spirit, your integrity. And your ego is going to go crazy. Because it's going to dit there and go all kinds of things. Because once you find out you're infinite being, it will blow your mind when you really truly understand who you are. The problem is that people don't, when they tell you this, we're still in a physical world. We don't have that ability to be that being that they tell us we are. But these people start to believe in it, and then they get lost in it. And then they think that they're better than other people, that they're superior, that they're the next coming, so to speak. And the problem is, the spirit realm is not as simply as just going what they say 100%. It is very metaphorical, but it's also depending whether or not you're doing focused work or doing things for yourself. When you start doing journeys and you're doing journeys into yourself, they're going to tell you all kinds of stuff. Your ego is going to go crazy, and you cannot believe everything they say is 100% accurate in the way that you're interpreting it. Because this is extremely important, because there's people out there that believe they're changing the whole universe, and there's a part of their soul that probably is, but that is not affecting you here right now. You don't have the ability to walk through the wall and to fly and to change and to do all these things. You don't. If I could walk through that wall, I would, and I'd be happy to learn. But I can't. I can't fly. Doesn't mean we don't have the capability of doing it. But on this physical world, we are limited in our understanding, and our understanding, and I could say that over and over and over again. So be very, very careful how you interpret what they're saying, because they could say that you're going to become an astronaut. So you go that direction. But they already know what's going to happen. See, this is the problem. They know what's going to happen. They're not going to tell you exactly what's going to happen, because that's what they're not here. They're not here to tell us what to do. We're here to learn ourselves, and that's why we come here, because we tell them before we come, whatever you do, don't tell me anything that's going to make it so I can't learn, because I don't want to have to come back here and repeat this because I was told what to do instead of learning it for myself. So they would tell you to go left, and you go left, and you're going to be an astronaut, but then you end up being a nurse, and you die a nurse. Well, what happened? How come I didn't become an astronaut? They say I was going to be an astronaut, but I didn't become an astronaut. So what's going on here? But by trying to become an astronaut, you became a nurse. Or you could have trying to become an astronaut, you could have became a cook. And then you became pre-med, and then you decided that you didn't want to become a doctor, so then you want to become a nurse, or vice versa. You could go, there's so many different stages that could happen in your life, and you could simply have been asked to go direction as an astronaut. Then you went in the direction of a cook. Then you went to school to do pre-med, and then you could have even took arts. You could have became a mechanic. Then you could have became lived in the north and worked in the mines for a while. You could have worked in South America for a while. You could have worked in Africa. And all along, you were going to become a nurse. And they knew that. But you had to follow the specific path in order to become the type of nurse that you're going to become. Because all these things that you learned were set up in a way to have you become the type of nurse that you're going to be. Because you could have been a nurse from the very beginning, but you wouldn't have learned the skills that you needed in order to become a nurse in that specific type of way. And all the understanding of your own life that made you that type of person in order to become a nurse. So this is where it becomes very, very, people get lost in that first stages. Sometimes they don't believe in anything. They second guess that this isn't true, that then I'm going to second guess everything that they're saying, that all this is made up in my head, and I could go on and on and on and on and on. But even myself, I went through many, many, many years of just doing this myself in my own world, and nobody that I knew understood exactly what I was going through. And so I was kind of by myself for a long time, and then I finally met people that could understand and help me through that process. It took a long time and a lot of isolation. Even when I did find people, they didn't quite understand what I was going through. And then eventually you go through all these different stages, but I went through my experiences to make me who I am today. And I wouldn't change that. And that's important, because what you went through in your life is what you needed to go through in order to become this individual, in order for you to overcome all those things that you had to overcome. Because if you didn't go through any of that, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing now. So then you wouldn't have been able, then you basically might have had to redo your whole life again at another time, or a version of this, in order to relearn that lesson. Think about this. If the spirits were there to tell us exactly what was going to happen in our lifetime, what would be the point of living on this earth? If we knew exactly what was going to happen next, we wouldn't understand what patience is. We wouldn't understand the true love, the true compassion, the true, like, all the things that it's like, even the understand hate, the understand frustration, loss, defeat. It's overcoming these negative parts to bring them into a positive aspect of ourselves, so that we do get knocked down, that we do have the capability of standing up. But we have to do it in a way that we're not going to get defeated to the point where we will end our life. And that's a topic, I'm not even going to go there. I don't agree with suicide in any way whatsoever. I think it's not something that we're ever meant to do. And I've talked to spirits guides about that many, 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 many times. And the answer is always the same. Don't commit suicide. It's not the right choice. So that's all I'm going to say on that. So I work with individuals that get lost in the chaos, or you'd say like the chaos versions of themselves. They get lost in it. They get super scared of it. They get terrified, so they run in the opposite direction instead of facing it, overcoming it, accepting it, and allowing that to become into balance. And that's the part that a lot of people have a really hard time doing. I could never have possibly done it, because they will show you horrific things that you've done in other lifetimes. Did that actually happen in that way, exactly the way they said it? Maybe, maybe not. But it takes that understanding of the capability that your soul could have done that to get you to break the things that you need to break in order to be able to bring it into balance. And to get over yourself, that your soul is perfect and never could possibly do anything besides just that. Let's look at a person, a teacher. And the teacher grew up in a lifestyle that they were given everything. They go to school and are teaching, and they never had any difficult students, and they never had any problems. Then you throw them in a situation where there's a bunch of kids that were drug addicts, that were beat up, molested, and you throw them in that classroom, they're going to fail miserably, because they will never understand how to teach those kids. Do those kids deserve to be taught? Yes, they do. But you take a teacher that was a drug addict that got over it, that had an abusive father that got over it. And you can go on and on and on. Throw them in that situation and they're going to know exactly what to teach those kids. Are those kids necessarily going to grasp onto all the information you're going to get through to all those kids? And maybe not. Maybe they will. But I can guarantee you right now, that second guy is going to be able to teach those kids a lot better than the first. There's nothing wrong with the first person. There's nothing wrong with the second person. They're both equal, and they're both meant to go through a specific life experience in order to be who they are. So you look at somebody that starts journeying and they get into it and they're just completely overwhelmed, or say we'll just talk about this person, and then they're showing they go into the dark side of themselves, which you will do, by the way. If you're going into journeying, they will go into the dark side of yourself. That's when people freak out. That's when people have the dark nights of the soul. But when they're done, they're going to be a lot stronger. They're going to be a lot more in balance, and they're a lot more understanding about their own life, about who they really are, and what their true purpose is. But that's not for everybody, though, because there is people that are given everything. It doesn't mean that person, the reason why that happened, that guy could have had the most difficult life you could ever imagine. And now he has a life, or she has a life, that is completely easy so they can heal from that other lifetime. And they could go through extreme lifetime, or 20 extreme lifetimes, but they might need 1,000 in order to heal from them lifetimes. And we have to understand that they're not given a silver platter. They could have been the most amazing person in another lifetime that gave up so much in order to help the human race. We don't know that. So we don't have the right to sit there and say that, oh, they got a silver spoon in their mouth. Maybe they did that because they were locked in a cage and tortured their whole entire life. It could go on, because I know what the human race is capable of, and how the horrors the lifetime that you could have lived. So we're given easy lifetimes in order to get over the difficult ones. That's how we heal. And our soul is infinite, so we also have other worlds and other lifetimes and other parts of ourselves that are living completely different experiences, and they also heal. Some of them are not. It's like, but don't get lost into thinking that you're better than another person. That another person that you had respect for, all of a sudden now you're showing a different perspective on it. You're showing a different perspective because they might be testing you to see how you react to that individual. Because you could simply say that, yes, this person disagrees with me, and I'm going to talk to them in a very positive way, and we'll share our experiences and we'll come out with a solution. Or you could sit there, I'm going to destroy your life because you don't believe in what I do, and they were showing that you're an evil person, you're sucking the life out of me, so I'm going to destroy you and do whatever I can and tell as many people in the world that you're sucking the life out of people. And I'm like, really? Because this actually happens, and especially being spiritual people and teachers and healers. And I'm thinking, well, so every person, so you're like, it's almost like, oh, you really think that you're special. If I'm going to go at them, I'm just going to, hypothetically that it happened to me, which it didn't, but I'm going to say it did. But I've had some weird shit happen to me anyway. So you're telling me that I'm going to sit there and concentrate on you to suck the life out of you. Well, and I'm going to do that to all these other people in the world, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to do that. Well, you have a very different understanding of life than I do, because that's a lot of bloody work. And I'm way too busy for that. And I never would do it anyway. But it's like, this is the problem. And people look at people and they put them up in this high pedestal, like, oh my God, their life is so easy. They don't have a friggin' clue what my life is like. They don't have a clue what these other people's lives are like. They just don't, there's something wrong in themselves if they feel they have to go and attack somebody. I can disagree with you, and I can disagree with your beliefs, because I'm going to believe whatever I want to believe. But I really don't have the right to say that you're wrong in your beliefs. There is situations we know this is the type of thing, well, what happens if the person's cutting up babies? Well, we all know that's wrong. I'm not talking about that, okay? So any of those extreme, ridiculous situations, we're going to throw them out there. We're going to bury them, because that's not what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to get into that extreme behavior, but the reason I'm talking about it is because the spirit realm is going to show you things in a very metaphorical way, and they're going to teach you and show you things that are going to get your ego going nuts. And you have to overcome your ego. You got to bring your ego into balance. You don't have to destroy your ego, but you do need to have control over it. There's a few people that don't have control over it, but they have control over a lot of other people. And we know who they are. And so you have to believe that we are all connected, but we're also an individual. And if we bring ourselves into balance, it brings the whole universe into balance, little bits at a time. So please, when you're doing this type of work, ask for help, talk to people. That's what me and Abbey are here to do, is to help people through these difficult situations. And to help you through it, to get you to understand it, to help you become a spiritual person. Because once you become that, you start to understand so much about yourself, and you become so much more in balance, but you will be tested. And it's okay if you get messed up for a little while. It's okay if you feel like you're flying in the heavens. It's okay if you feel beaten down in life. Or even doing this whole process. It's okay, because it's normal to feel as a human being would feel. But it's trying to come out of that as fast as possible. But when you do, you become a much stronger person. You become much more aware. You start to understand things. And when you understand how the spirit realm works, I know a lot, but there's a hell of a lot more I got to know. And I want to know. And they will know. I'm never going to stop learning. I'm never going to stop learning new information. You just never do. When you think you know everything, then your ego's in the way. When you think you're better than somebody else, your ego's in the way. If you think you're the next coming, maybe you are. But most likely your ego is saying that to you. And the spirit realm will say things to you that will make you think that way. But you have to understand it's testing you to come over your own ego. It doesn't matter what you are in the spirit realm, in this physical world. You could be, just say, you could be Jesus Christ. You're the next second coming. If you're not meant to reveal that to the world, then you're just a regular person like everybody else, and you're never going to be more than that. When I say regular, none of us are regular. We're all extreme and beautiful individuals. When I say extreme is the wrong word. Extraordinary is a better word. That's the word I meant to say. We're all extraordinary. But we're also living in a physical world and have to endure the physical experiences. Remember that. You're never better than anyone else. And if you really do speak to Jesus, he doesn't want you to pray to him. He wants you to treat him as an equal. You and me and everybody is an equal, because we're all from the same source. We're all interconnected. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all equal. But God, I'd be put to death for saying that a few years ago. Not a few, but you know what I mean. And that's a sad thing, isn't it? Yeah, that John Lennon song, it makes me think that he was killed for his beliefs. The guy had a lot of really amazing things to say, and so did his wife. And we know his wife was a huge influence on him, and some people say it was the downfall. Well, you know what? It probably made him a lot better person, because it made him think differently. And he was the person that he was meant to be. It's just a shame that extremism did him in. And the misinterpretation of how we should treat each other. Anyway, I get off topic again, but it all is all interconnected anyway. So when you go through these experiences and you have a really difficult time, that's what other spiritual people are here to do, to help you through it, to help you understand it. And you're going to have different teachers, but you are also the master. You're always the master, because you are the master of yourself. We are here to help you, to guide you, and to help you just understand a little bit. But it doesn't mean that whatever I say is 100% accurate for you. It is for me, but it's not necessarily for you. But you will always find information to help you along your path and to help you to understand. So let's stop spreading extremism. Let's stop and take a look and help one another. When you see somebody that needs help, stop and help them. Really bring together as community. Help each other is the most important thing that we can do in this earth, is to help each other. And don't be so bloody critical about everything. And don't believe everything you hear in the spirit realm, because it is not going to be exactly what they say all the time. But it's what you need to hear at the time to help you develop yourself. It's going to create things within yourself that is going to make you question things. It's going to make you look deeper. It's going to make you look deeper within yourself. It's going to make you cry. It's going to make you angry. If it makes you angry, there's something you need to work on about that, because that is the one thing that is a big trigger for a lot of people. If something gets your back up against the wall, you're going to get angry. That is when your ego really jumps in, and that's a really good sign that you need to work on. And as also crying and extreme reactions is always a very positive thing, because that's when you really learn the most. Take care, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you wish to do a session with me, you can visit my website at amonrasawakening.com. I have a couple of the websites out there. First one's Joseph Bradley Aurora's, it's Northern Light photos. And I have some other more like art style, interesting Aurora type images that are at hiddenoauroraspirits.com. And they are very extraordinary, and they have a lot of energy attached to them. You'll know when you look at them. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.